Hey, what's up, guys? This is Riley over here at Bishop's RV. I'm in front of this 2026 Northwood Arctic Fox 365 VS. Let's take a look at this. Now, if you have done any research in the RV industry, one thing that is a common factor for people is build quality. If you're looking for a really heavy-duty build on something or really good insulation, this is the one. Arctic Fox is the only brand in the industry that builds their own chassis. They call it their Iron Horse chassis. Really heavy duty. They use thicker steel than anybody else in the industry, thicker insulation than anybody else in the industry. You can even see right here has a plate so you can actually put a generator in this front compartment. Tons of space for storage. In fact, when we go inside or through these pass-throughs, you'll notice their storage is awesome. I love the updated styling too. They're always a little bit behind in the most modern styling, so this feels more like a cabin to me, which I love. I think it's fantastic. It's a really nice feel to it. Feels like a camper. And they also do a couple other things that people aren't doing. They do still have the Goodyear tires on these instead of some cheaper brands. Use a rack and pinion system on their heavy-duty slides. But this is the main thing on the outside. This is a 16.8 tanked in water heater. You don't have the tankless, so if you're going to be going boondocking, this is way better than using a tankless water heater. If you're going to be plugged in, tankless is great, but I like having that oversized water heater for boondocking, especially around here. It's a lot nicer of an option for most people that are out camping. We do have this NXT really loaded, so this has the 10x solar system plus 600 additional watts of solar, so you have 1600 watts of solar plus an inverter that's a 3000 watt inverter. This thing is absurd in how it is prepped to just go wherever you want to go. I love the aesthetics of it. Looks really sharp. Love the formed rear cap you can see there with the fat ladder, they call it. Really nice ladder there, and it does have a hitch on the back. Where these are built in Oregon, it doesn't have an official towing rating. It's just more of like a bicycle one, but we can obviously look at options. If you're looking at towing doubles, it is something that you can possibly do. You do have a little bit of exterior storage here. One thing I wanted to point out with this storage is even in the spots that you're not really getting into, very common, you can see everything is a nice high-grade plywood. They use really clean lumber on everything too. Very particular on the parts and the components they use, as well as the stuff for their construction. You know, so there's not like huge splits in the plywood. There's no splits in the wood right here for the structuring, or even on that cleat there. They're very, very picky on what they use. Even in this one right here, I'll show it again. Just really tight as far as how their construction is. Actually, this is kind of a cool spot to look at. If we look back here, you can notice that you've got very small openings going throughout this underbelly on this. These guys have a fully heated and enclosed underbelly, have the best insulation in the industry. Like I said, this is considered an all conditions unit, so they use these things called foxholes. Instead of just having a bunch of air getting blown to the underbelly where all your water is, these guys actually have dedicated spots that will keep it heated, so that way it's even more efficient than what most people are doing. Once again, I want to show you that nice AC plywood up in the floor. Really nice to have the AC plywood as opposed to OSB, which gets soft over time, and if it gets hot it smells like glue, so I don't love that. This switch here is for our batteries. This does have lithiums on board already, so you've got a nice little control right there on this side coming into the camper. That's just a master switch to turn everything off, essentially. It does have the hydraulic jacks too, so I love that, and a propane quick connect up at the front. Now, of course, talking about the outside, that's all fancy and whatnot, but let's look at this moonstone interior. Take a look at how they do their interior. I'm going to bring this back a little bit so that way we can get a better view of everything. Once again, this is the moonstone interior, the lighter of the grays that they do. I really like the update they did on these shades here. They actually put a little magnet on the side, you can see right there, so that way it's not clacking around, just keeps it out of the way. They use huge windows. I wanted to close all these just so you could see how the lighting is. Doesn't feel like a cave at all like some of these other campers. They have a ton of lighting in these. Feels nice and bright. Do you have seamless countertops on everything? No cheap T-mold that's going to break off. Excuse me. And then this one's actually set up with multiple theater seats. So we've got our theater seats here underneath our little overhead cabinetry, which is all screwed and glued into place. Really need to feel these in person to truly understand how nice this is. I love the little accents that they do on everything too. Just kind of elevates the space. Love the trimming on the ceiling. Just looks really nice. We do have our theater seats in the back as well here. You can see we've got little plug-ins hidden in the side. And even on these side tables, I love that they didn't go to like some cheaper material. They still use that Corian. So that way it is a lot more heavy duty than most people are going to be offering in this. This is a very stout camper. And once again, like I said, on the outside, we do have a lot of storage to work in here. This ribbed glass looks fantastic too. On our entertainment area, we have a 5,000 BTU fireplace underneath some additional storage that gives you a lot more space to work with. And actually, if you look in this spot here, you can look back there and see that there is a spot where you can run wiring. So if you wanted to do like a DVD player or put an Xbox, PlayStation, whatever it is, somewhere else, you do have a little spot where you can run it. You do have your Bluetooth stereo system underneath as well where our entertainment is. But there's this little latch here you pull. And even more space for stuff. I love this. I love the little swivel on there too. It's really nice to have any little bit of storage in a camper. Once again, if you've used a camper before, you know that space is limited to begin with, but being able to access every little bit of storage possible is a huge plus. This does have the 30-inch convection microwave from Furrion, so can use this as an oven if you wanted, which is why it's got that silver on the inside, and we've got our little racking. It has the 3-burner cooktop, which I love this too. Has these nice removable pieces, and then a separate oven underneath. All our drawers are also full extension ball bearing steel drawers, but I want to point out this. How often do you see an actual piece of 1x on the end here? Usually it's just this little piece here. They staple it to the door. This is a lot more rigid than most people will have in their campers as well. It's just, once again, thinking about being over the average construction in a camper, Northwood is going to be the way to go for sure. On this side, you can see this little trash can here. I've got a couple of papers in the way, but there's actually a little drop hole where you can drop your trash through the countertop, which is cool. Love that. And I'm going to take a second. I'll stop talking and let you see this stuff about their construction that I've been talking about. It talks about like their Iron Horse chassis and the way these are put together. You're welcome to pause the video and take a look if you would like. But really cool stuff as far as their construction goes. Trying to keep that smooth for you. Apologize if that was shaky at all. Going back over to the rest of this, our sink on here is a split bowl system, which they use an oversized sink here and then a slightly smaller one on this side. So if you wanted more like a farmhouse style sink, they go pretty dang close with the size of this. This is huge. Lots of space to work with. It's not like most split bowls where you feel limited on space. If you need a smaller one, it's over here. This one's going to be pretty comparable to a lot of people's sinks, even if it is the farmhouse style. We've got our Furrion 12-volt refrigerator, which pairs phenomenally with the solar on board. This is 16 cubic feet of storage. Love this side-by-side fridge and freezer combo. It gives you so much space to work with. Huge upgrade from the gas and electrics. Way safer, cools faster, and I like the extra storage, of course. Speaking of extra storage, once again, got a really good sized pantry on this side, fully illuminated, and our little hutch here. Lots of storage. You can see our little voltage control, thermostat, and you'll find these little light switches periodically throughout the coach. I love that they kind of keep them tucked away so it's not just in your face all the time. You can see our converter and fuses on the bottom there. And then right here in the entry, this is where all your controls are for everything. I will point out this right here, 110 volt water heater system. They don't use a 12 volt. They use a heavy duty heat pad system. So that way, if you go below 0, this is going to be a lot more efficient than people that are just using the 12 volt. That doesn't give you enough heat to actually use in extreme temperatures. So these Arctic Foxes are built to totally handle that and give you a lot longer of a camping season if you decide to go in cold weather. In this dual sink setup in the bathroom, I love the amount of storage you get. Lots of space to put things. I love these sinks too. They look really nice. Get a really good, comfortable setup here. You could easily stand 2 people in here and not feel super cramped. And then once again, this medicine cabinet's nice. I love all this storage everywhere in these. And even right back here behind me, we've got our linen closet, which is nice and deep. And then I'm going to flip our camera around for a second. That way you can just kind of see the overall space in here. We've got a lot of room everywhere I walk. There's a lot of space. When I sit on the toilet here, this is a porcelain toilet, but I've got a lot of extra leg room in front of me because they do kick this out at an angle. Now, the caveat with being at an angle is you are kind of closer to the wall and the glass here, but it does not feel claustrophobic at all in this way. Main reason is just because it is kicked out forward just a little bit, so that way I don't feel like I'm being pushed into the corner. It does have me pushed away from the wall a little bit, so it's a little bit nicer. Same with this shower right here. There's a lot of space in here, lots of elbow room. Not going to feel super tight in here at all. They do have the glass doors, so you don't have the curtains rubbing against your legs or anything. And tons of headspace because we've got the cathedral ceiling that curves, and we have a skylight above me. So there's not a short height on here. If you're a taller person, not going to feel super cramped in here either. On the way out, I want to point out we do have max air fans in these. These have 4 different speeds, and you can actually run this as a ceiling fan. You don't have to have that hood open, so you can circulate some additional air with the ACs. Bring this back over here. Now, last but certainly not least is the master bedroom. We've got our king walk-around bed with side tables, USB plugs. We've even got plugins if you need a spot for a CPAP machine. This does come with camp chairs, which are right here. Haven't had it set up all the way yet because this is a newer arrival, so haven't completely staged it yet, but just really wanted to get some good footage of this. Once again, even looking at this, we've got full extension drawers on everything here. And then under the bed, the cool thing with this bed is right here. I love this metal framework. Really makes it just extra heavy duty. Once again, I'm not even holding on to it. We have our strut assist on this guy. Obviously doesn't lift as high as some of the other ones, which is okay. You're not really getting under here for a whole lot of stuff anyway, but you do have a safe, which is kind of cool. You can hide your valuables there. Now, if you have other valuables, most people aren't going to know that you've got hidden storage in some spots. This one, it's a little more obvious because you can kind of see the hinge, but if you're not paying attention, you could easily walk past it. But you got a little spot here for storage too. Love the space in this. Now, last but certainly not least, in the master, right before we get in here, I want to point out this accent. Love this. This is just really cool. But we have cedar on the front closet. So it looks really nice. They've been doing this for a while, but I love the look of it. It's beautiful. Love the cedar. Tons of storage in here. Washer and dryer prepped. And then you've got tons of shelving. Love this overhead shelving, even like the shoe spot. And if this isn't enough storage for you, we'll move over and look on this other side. And they still have this wrapped in cedar. It looks so good. And it is a ton of storage to work with. And once you're done getting your stuff out of here, got a really good sized mirror. Check out how you look for the day before you go out camping on your hike or whatever. Look at all that. That's so nice. I love the look. Love these campers. They're built like tanks. Like I said, if you've done any sort of research in the RV industry, you know exactly what we're looking at right here. Highly recommend these. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to chat. Really love these campers and love to talk about them. So any chance I get the opportunity to do so, I'll definitely be your guy. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.